Hello, everyone. My name is Ajay Khanna. I'm CEO and founder at Tellius. So the topic for today's talk is AI-powered decision intelligence on Lakehouse. Along with me is Mikhail Pikalov, who is technical solutions architect at Tellius, and he'll be showcasing live demo of Tellius platform on Databricks Lakehouse. So he's got all the fun stuff and the interesting stuff on his side there. With that said, for all of you who don't know Tellius, we are a decision intelligence platform focused on enabling faster data-driven decision-making for business and analytics teams by enabling faster, by having a Google-like search interface, as well as an ML AI-driven automation to get deep insights, key drivers, and analysis across large volumes of data. We work with customers across different industries, such as pharmaceutical life sciences. We work with CPG e-commerce, high-tech, and finance and insurance companies. We are also honored to be recognized by Gartner as a visionary in the Magic Quadrant. And also, we are also excited to announce a recent partnership with Databricks, where we can run ad hoc analysis and insights across Databricks Lakehouse. When we look at the landscape, I think there's a lot of talks in the last 2 days around data and AI landscape. And data and AI has come a really long way in the last decade or so. So there's been a lot of innovation in the areas of data infrastructure, data pipeline, data transformation, and also automated ML techniques there. So there's a lot of options available for the data experts to make sense of all the complex data organizations are collecting. We see that Apache Spark, Databricks Lakehouse, and some of the other technologies are becoming really the foundational engine for modern data and AI stack there. However, when we look at that with all the innovation, unfortunately, only 2% of the people in the organization, the data scientists and experts, are really benefiting from all this innovation. And they are the ones who are actually enjoying this whole aspect in the analytics space. And we also see that only a very small percentage of the organizations are leveraging these technologies there. So the real question is, how do we make sure that the organizations, we can get these ML and AI-driven insights in the hands of the business teams, in the hands of all the knowledge workers out there? When we look at these other 98% who are more close to the businesses, their user experience really hasn't changed in the last decade or so. So users are still struggling to figure out what's happening in their business, why metrics change, and what they can do to improve outcomes. So we see a massive gap between the legacy BI and dashboarding tools who are focused or were built over the last 1 or 2 decades, and then all the other insightful ML and AI capabilities that are more focused for the technical elites in the organization. So on one side of the spectrum, we see the dashboarding tools, where we see the business teams typically use dashboards to make sense of their data, create reports, and analysis there. But these dashboards are really limited in regards to what you can do with them. You cannot really answer what we call as the why question, why metrics change, why campaign conversion changed last week. And on the other end of the spectrum, you see AI ML tools built for answering those complex questions, but they are also, you need some advanced degree in statistics or machine learning to be able to understand those tools. And that leaves a massive insights gap in the middle, where the business team, the analytics teams, when they have to make sense of their data, they have to run hundreds of millions of combinations to figure out what's driving a certain behavior. And that process could be really manual, inefficient, time-consuming, and which is what's leading to biased insights and a delayed decision-making in the organization. So what this is also leading to a growing divide between the analytic creators and consumers, where consumers who have hundreds of these reports and dashboards, but they're still struggling to get insight from the data. And then on the other hand, you see creators, and the creators are struggling with all the tons of ad hoc requests out there. They have a growing backlog, and they are dealing with multiple tools with a lot of friction there. So what if we could reduce the gap between these creators and consumers, and reduce the friction, and reduce and speed up the iterative process of creators and consumers communicating with each other? That would actually lead to faster insights for the end consumers. That would enable faster, smarter, data-driven decision making in the organization. So how do we get there? How do we go from data to decisions? And we believe that going from data to decisions involves understanding not only what's happening in your business, but why metrics change. For example, why campaign conversion changed last week, why revenue for a certain product is different than the other product last week, and what actions you can take and how you can improve outcomes there. And that's kind of the reason we built Tellius. So Tellius Decision Intelligence platform speeds up every aspect of the journey from data to decisions, and it starts with a Google-like search interface. So you ask a question in natural language, and the system will query the underneath data warehouse or a lake house and create the chart and the analysis in a matter of few seconds, and you can do it across terabytes of data or across billions of records. Our AI-powered insights engine can actually run those millions of combinations automatically across all the data and find those interesting insights, figure out those key drivers and what's impacting the variable or the target variable you're looking at. And our AutoML and Auto Insights capabilities help you identify what actions you can take to improve those outcomes in the business. I think one of the biggest benefits we see is the faster analytics agility, where now you can iterate through this whole process much more faster. What happens is typically you start with a question, what happened question that leads to a why question, like what happened to revenue in a certain market, that will typically end up leading to a question on why did revenue change for a product last week, and that leads to another question. So you have sequence of questions, and that with a typically a traditional process of BI dashboards, Excel, Python, that could actually become very slow, manual, cumbersome process there. So for Tellius, the vision is how you can compress that analysis process and reduce the time it takes to go from what to why to how. And so our innovative, scalable, modern analytics platform is built on cloud. And what it does, it combines the ad hoc queries, automated insights, and ML AI capabilities in a modern unified platform. We have a dual analytics engine which combines the best of the two worlds, the BI and AI together. So we have live query and live insights engine, which you can work with your Lakehouse and be able to run all these queries without moving the data from Lakehouse. We also have an in-memory compute engine, which uses Apache Spark underneath, where you can run those ML and AI jobs using Spark and be able to create those insights automatically. We also have a data connection and transformation engine where we can actually transform data from different sources, create some KPIs, metrics, which is relevant to the business. On the consumption layer, we see a natural language query engine, which translates the questions businesses have into a SQL query, and then also provide the smart suggestions and recommendations as you're typing, and be able to get those answers in a matter of seconds. Our visualization engine enables users to create reports and create visualization and charts on the fly. Our Auto Insights engine help users find the best machine learning algorithm for the question they have, so they can find those insights, the key drivers, much more faster and easier manner. Our Auto ML engine and Auto ML and Auto segmentation engine enables users to create those segments automatically without relying on the data science experts there. And all of this platform is built for cloud, and we can also use APIs to interact and embed Tellius into the other applications there. What the other benefit we see from this whole approach is we bring analytics consumers and creators like never before. So analytics creators, where they can actually do these analysis much more faster with ease, but they can also do a lot more deeper analysis now. They can go and they can bring the data into the system, do the data transformations using a point and click approach, but also bring in their own Python or SQL code as needed. They can create insights, they can create ML models, so that's what creators can do. But on the other end of the spectrum, we also see analytic consumers. So consumers now, they can ask questions, they can discover insights, they can explore insights, so it's enabling collaboration between the creators and consumers, which accelerates the data-driven decision-making in the organization. And this approach also enables users to upskill different people in the organization. So what we see is that a business user, they can become an analyst now. So business user, where they were waiting for the analyst to get those answers, and they were waiting for days or weeks, they can now go and ask this question in natural language. They can get answers in a matter of seconds. And so they can upskill themselves to be an analyst in the organization. And analysts now, they can supercharge their analysis and by automating the process. And then we also see that analysts now can also upskill themselves with the latest ML and AI techniques. They can actually use those techniques to run those predictive models they couldn't run before. And by doing that, they can augment the analytics workflow for their system. And then when we'll talk about the automated insights capability, the automatic root cause analysis across high dimensional data sets. So that's kind of one of the best capabilities Tellius offers, where we can figure out the best algorithm available depending upon the question you have. So for example, if you're trying to do a trend-based analysis, system will figure out why customer retention is lower in Q4 as compared to Q3. It can also figure out analysis around what's driving lower campaign conversion, let's say in Europe last month or last quarter. It can also figure out questions like, okay, what segments you can go and target that have high propensity to purchase a certain brand there. And doing all these kind of examples and use cases across terabytes and billions of records enables you to find those insights much more faster. The value Tellius offers to our end customers and end users is around empowering everyone with a faster data-driven decisions and also doing the ease of data analysis, faster insights, and deeper analysis there. As an example, a Fortune 500 e-commerce company is using Tellius across thousands of users. They are doing ad hoc exploration of data across terabytes of data. We see a global CPG, a consumer goods company, is creating shopper profiles 10 times faster than their traditional approaches. A top 10 pharmaceutical company is actually saving millions of dollars in rebates, so they were mistakenly paying. Now they don't have to pay that. And the way this system works for Tellius is we sit on top of a Databricks Lakehouse. So you will have a Databricks Lakehouse where you can have either data lake or Delta tables there, and Tellius will sit on the top and provide this unified layer where you can do the ad hoc analysis, you can do the insights and ML in a unified integrated platform there. And then also we complement your existing investments. So if you already have a dashboarding tool like a Click or Tableau or Power BI, you can continue to use that for your dashboarding and reporting needs. And if you have an ML notebook, you can still continue to use that for all your advanced data science capabilities or so. But Tellius provides this consumption layer, which you can put on top of Databricks and be able to make it accessible to the business and the analytics teams out there. The way it works with the Lakehouse is we can run those queries and insight directly in the Lakehouse. You don't have to move the data. So instead of going and using SQL, Python, whatever you're using for the Databricks, it's actually just using natural language, but running queries and insights within the Lakehouse. So you're not moving the data. And then also we can run these insights at scale, same point. We don't have to move the data on that. We can also connect to multiple Databricks tables. So the way it works in the system is you can select the data source, what table you want to bring in, and then be able to connect that and ask questions across that. And we also have write-back capabilities. So if once you do the analysis, you want to bring that data back into the Lakehouse, you can also do that. That's absolutely possible there. So in terms of working with our customers, Tellius is adding tremendous value to our customers across different industries. For a Fortune 100 pharma company, we are helping them improve commercial effectiveness by doing the root cause analysis much more faster, identify the underperforming areas, and also figuring it out the growth opportunities for commercial teams so they can go and target those areas to improve that effectiveness. For a Fortune 100 consumer goods company, we are helping them with faster shopper profile, but also helping them improving their market share by identifying the key drivers and areas of opportunities and across their accounts, brands, and channels so they can act on it to improve the market share there. With that said, I'm going to hand over the interesting, fun stuff to Mikhail, and he's going to go through the demo, and I'll just talk about that there. So what we will do is we will actually go and work with a Databricks Delta Lake connections. We'll start with the Delta Lake connection, connect to some tables, and then go from there. So what we're doing here right now is we're connecting to a Delta Lake table. We select the source we have. And then once we connect on that, it's going to use the credentials and bring up all the tables in the Lakehouse. We can click on one of the tables, and then we bring that table in. So once we do that, then we can, it's actually connected from Tellius side, and now Tellius, we can start asking questions from that data. So for example, we have right now some Amazon data, and we are trying to figure out kind of the hottest selling items and products by sale for a certain region. We're going to pick San Francisco, and we're going to try to find it only for this year. So underneath it, you can think of like a SQL statement where you will typically be able to do a group by and do a filter. And here, the system is actually running this analysis, coming this chart, and you get that in a matter of seconds. So this one was, we didn't move the data. The data is sitting in the Lakehouse, and it's just running that query. We can also do a drill down. So we can continue to drill down. So if you have data in there, we can drill down on different variables. In this case, could be, we can look at by region, or in this case, by shipping city. So you can do all the drill down. So the advantage here is you could have terabytes of data and do this ad hoc exploration very quickly. So this was just one of the examples we had where we can do this search and figure out what's happening with the sale. Now we're going to do a little bit of maybe time-based queries where we can do some resolution by month, by quarter. We just did a monthly resolution. The system, so we did the monthly resolution. And what also, if you notice, the system is identifying like a dot that's saying there's some anomaly, like if you have an unusually high change in the sales volume here, and the system will say there's an anomaly detected and you want to understand why. So the system is automatically prompting you. And what you could do there is you click on understand why, and what it's going to do is it's going to go and run the analysis. Now you can imagine in an actual system there could be thousands of variables and billions of records. It could run all the combination, and it's going to bring that results. Typically, for running all these combinations, it could take anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds or so. So we just have this analysis available. So you can look at the top 5 contributing factors to that change. So imagine that scenario. In this case, they have different column names like shipping modes, shipment type, the ship region. So in this particular case, a standard class shipping mode and a home office segment, and then a certain region in South is actually leading to the top 5 contributors for the change in the sale. So it's figuring it out from the data and identifying those variables there. So you can run those insights. Typically, you will end up doing it using SQL, Python, or sometime bringing it in Excel. You could do that very quickly or there. So that's just one of the example. So we'll now also show some of the other examples here, but we also will go to the Databricks portal and see, so whatever the examples we just had. So Mikhail just switched to the Databricks portal, where now you can go to the Databricks portal and see the query which was executed, which we just did in Tellius. So this is the query which was executed in Databricks, and the Spark SQL statement, which is doing a select star for that particular city and that particular time frame or so. So coming back toward the other example, so we're going to do another example. Let's do a comparison one. We did some group by, we did a time resolution. Let's do a comparison where we look at sales for technology as compared to communication. So it's comparing those two now, like figuring it out what's the sale for tech versus communication, and the system will provide that information there in a visual form. And now you can actually do some insights analysis. You want to know why sales for tech is doing better than the communication, and the system will do the same analysis of what's the change, why it is happening there. And it's figured out that a certain category, which is technology, and subcategories of phone, and a certain segment of consumers is actually leading to that change, where that's why the tech segment is doing better than the other. So imagine that could be thousands of variables and could be billions of records. That takes a lot of manual stuff out of the way, and you can do this analysis very quickly. So this was the comparison part, and then moving on to that. So this was, we talked about some of the search capabilities. We talked about some of the insights. just taking it to the next level, we can also do some segmentation where a system can also create segments if you want to go and take some action and be able to target the high customer lifetime values customers. You have to figure out what is the segment of the users who tend to be have higher CLTV. So you can actually run the segmentation analysis, and this you can think of like a classification algorithm or a decision tree, and then it will identify those segments and say the segment, the CLTV is higher when these are the users who communicate via email, they have a mobile app, and they interact within a certain time of the day. So try to find that segment so you can actually find what I call as the lookalikes, and those lookalikes is someone you can go and target there. So that's the next level. We're not only figuring it out why things change, but now what you can do to improve those outcomes. So that's the segmentation part. But then you can also provide some of the capabilities to the citizen data scientist. So until now, we talked about what normally an analyst will do. Analyst where they're trying to do a lot of those questions, but then a citizen data scientist may want to create their own model. So we also have the capability where you can actually run that either through an AutoML or through a point-and-click approach. In this case, Mikhail is showing the AutoML approach where you can set the CLTV as a target variable and figure out and specify the model name and the type of the model, and then you can actually now predict, which is basically it's going to train the model or multiple models and try to figure out the leaderboard on what model has higher accuracy than the other. And that's where you bring up to a leaderboard where you can see different models and their accuracy metrics and so you can figure out which model you want to use. And then the system also provide some explainability where you can look at different aspects on different variables. It provides you transparency into different factors which are impacting that. So if we are making a decision in this particular case that if this customer has higher lifetime value, what's driving that particular behavior? Is that the aspect that they live in a certain zip code, or they are enrolled into a different rewards program? Or that could also be that they are certainly if they live in a certain state or they buy certain items. So it is finding these factors, what really is impacting them to be a higher customer lifetime value. So this provides explainability for the analytics teams who are trying to make some decisions. And so using ML, but making it available in a more consumable format. You can also see some model information if you want to look at the exact model which was used for that purposes, and also some of the parameters which were used for the training this model. That information is available for that end consumption there. So that's the ML part. None of that is possible unless you can bring the data into the system and do the data transformation and data prep. So let's talk about the data prep. We a little bit touched on that earlier, how we bring data into the system, but we also have very extensive data prep and transformation capabilities. We don't consider ourselves to be a data prep or ETL tool, but at the same time, we consider ourselves to be a last mile data prep, where you can bring data into the system, you can run a SQL code here. So this is underneath using Spark SQL. So you can actually run Spark SQL jobs where you can figure out maybe add some more variables and more columns. We figure out in this case different months or identify the gap between different days. So you can do a lot of those calculations here using Spark SQL. We also have some Python and PySpark capabilities also available there. So you can do that. We also have a more point-and-click approach where you can think of like an Excel on steroids, where you can actually run that analysis where you can transform the data, you can convert some uppercase to lowercase, you can change the display names, synonyms, so you can do all that stuff there also. So there's some capabilities available to do the data transformation. Once you do the data transformation, then the next step typically is that now you want to be able to create what we call as a data model, which in Tellius we call it business view. So you can create a business view. So if you have a transaction table, you have a customer table, you have a product table, what you can do is you can bring all of that together in an integrated way and create a data model. So the advantage of the data model, the business view, is that any questions we will ask, like we talked about the search questions or the insights or the ML, it works across all the tables there. So if you have some information in a transaction table and some in the product, you can join that together so you can run the analysis across different tables. So once you do this, then the last thing which I'll talk about is the aspect on bringing it all together. And that's the biggest value prop Tellius offers, is that we did the search, we did data prep, and we did insights and ML. How do they all come together? So for us, the key is we call this concept as kind of decision apps. You have to create an app which you can now give it to the end users. For us, it is like we have the export from the search part, but then we can create insights. We can also train ML models. And let's say if we have higher customer lifetime value, or in this case, we are figuring it out who are high lifetime value customers, what action we should take. And what this will do is create this view. And as Mikhail is showing, all of this is fully interactive, that you can actually run ML models from here, or do a drill down, or we can create insights directly from this view also. And so that is where we typically have our customers consuming all that information we talked about in different parts of the platform. You can make it all consumable here. And that's where I think we see a lot of talk about the data apps. We call this as decision app, where you can actually use this to make decisions faster there. And I think, and that is actually kind of the last thing we wanted to show there on this side. But that kind of completes kind of different aspects of the tool. But in summary, we see Tellius kind of brings this unified consumption layer, where it actually intelligently routes the queries to a data lakehouse or a warehouse, or in case you don't have those compute capabilities available, it can bring data in memory, but ultimately making that ML AI capabilities accessible to the business and the analytics teams out there or so. So that's actually on my side, but thank you so much. Yeah, but any questions?
Questions from the audience?
And everyone wants to go and have some have wine or drink or so, but happy to answer any questions. All right then. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.